G'day. Today we're going to do a U-BrewIt recipe pack. The recipe that we're doing today is a Barwon Gold and it's from the boutique range. It's a nice golden ale. To start off, I have 5 litres of water sitting at 70 degrees. This recipe pack that we have today calls for steeping grains. If your recipe doesn't come with steeping grains, just bring the water directly to the boil. Your kit will come with a grain bag. So I have 70 degree water sitting in the pot ready to go. You only need around about 5 litres. It doesn't have to be exactly 5 litres. So I put the grain bag in the pot, just secure it with a couple of clips so that it doesn't fall in on you. Open up the grain bag, just gently pour it in. It will sink down a little bit. Just grab a spoon, slowly, gently poke the grain till there's no what we call dough balls, which means that all the grains are nice and loosely sitting in the water. That looks pretty good. Now you can either tie the bag up or just let it sit there with your clips. Put the lid on and leave that sit for about 15 minutes. We'll be back soon. Alright, we've had our grains steeping for 15 minutes. Very important to keep it at 70 degrees for the whole time. That's smelling really good. Carefully remove your clips in the bag. Just remember it is still fairly hot, so you could burn yourself. And just hang the bag over the pot for about a minute or until the liquid stops running. It's also important not to squeeze the bag. Some unwanted flavours will actually come out. Once you're happy with the amount, just throw the bag in the bin. We now bring the liquid to a boil. This will take a couple of minutes, so we'll be back. Welcome back. Our wort is actually at the boil now, so we're going to start adding our hops. It's a nice rolling boil. You don't want to be cooking the absolute crap out of it. You just want a nice gentle rolling boil. We're going to add our hop pack number 1. And it will actually fluff up a bit. Oh, that smells good. We leave that go for 15 minutes. We'll be back then. Okay, welcome back. The time has just gone off for our first lot of hops. It's time to add our bag number 2. Some kits may not come with bag number 2. They will come with 2 bags in total. They'll come with bag number 1 and a bag number 3. This one comes with bag 1, 2 and 3. So we'll add our second edition now. We'll let that go for another 15 minutes. If your kit doesn't come with bag number 2, simply set your timer for another 15 minutes. So your first lot of hops will actually go for 30 minutes in total. We'll be back. Okay, our hops have been going for another 15 minutes. It's time to add bag number 3. So bag number 3 doesn't just contain hops, it also contains some yeast nutrient, which helps the yeast along, eats up the sugars a bit better. We set that for 10 minutes. And we'll be back then. Alright, we're back. So this has been boiled for a total of 40 minutes. It's time to add our malt. First up is to take your water off the boil. This pack contains light lager, MEQ and glucose. So I'll just open it up, pour it in. It's just going to be like a big toothpaste tube. If you're actually doing this on a fairly cold day like today, it would be advisable to just heat the bag up in some warm water for 10-15 minutes. It would just make the malt come out of the bag a lot easier. Try and get as much as you possibly can out. We'll just add our sugars. And we just give it a stir until it's all dissolved. It can take up to 5 minutes. Just stir it nice and gently. We'll be back. Okay, all my sugars have been dissolved. The pot's cooled down a fair bit now. So all I've done is just clipped the second bag that comes with the kit to the top of my fully sanitised fermenter. Just pour in nice and slowly, just to strain the hop matter. Now that'll be fairly hot in the fermenter still. So what I'll do is I'll add some ice to cool it all down a bit. Now, because there was a fair bit of hops in this recipe pack, so we'll need to strain a fair bit of water out of the actual bag. Okay, our hop bag's fairly well drained now, so I'm just going to throw that straight back in to my pot. That'll still be fairly hot in the fermenter, so what I'll do is just throw some ice in to cool it down a little bit. Around about half a bag will do. Now I've got my sanitised spoon. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a stir until most of the ice is melted. I will fill that up with water up to around about 25 litres. I won't take it right up to the 25 litre mark because what I want to do now is just check my temperature. Alright, I've added a little bit of hot water and brought the fermenter up to 25 litres. It's important that you have it sitting anywhere between 18 and 24 degrees. but it's very important that we work really quickly now. So we'll just strip off the yeast. Sprinkle it on top. Get our sanitised spoon again and just give it a gentle stir. Until all the yeast is sort of wet and it will start dropping to the bottom. Then give it a fairly vigorous stir to get a bit of oxygen into the wort.